Damn.
Zoe, does this mean this is gonna go on your YouTube account for anyone to see?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Very many people are gonna watch it, but
I don't think anyone will, but I do not care.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
Hi, everybody.
it's not live streaming yet. It's working on it.
Okay.
Is it gonna stay there or will it leave?
We'll probably get copyright stricken. So.
Oh shoot, you're right.
Cool.
There we
Damn.
go.
Well, that's fine.
At least
Yeah,
the
that's
people
okay.
at YouTube will see it.
Yeah. All right. It is on YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Cool.
Hi,
Hi,
guys. Welcome back.
All right. So, we should probably like introduce ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I wrote Mad Sometimes, and I'm playing Elliot in Mad Sometimes. And in this, I'm Lori, Friedrich, and Beth, and the stage directions. Cool.
Damn.
All right. Claire, you want to go next?
check if
Hi,
people are watching?
I'm Claire, and
Sorry,
I'm
interrupted.
in Mad Sometimes. I play a spooky character. And I'm playing Joe and Aunt March.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Ash, you want to go?
Sure. I am Ashley. I am River in Mad Sometimes. And I'm Amy and some other people.
And you're directing Mad Sometimes also.
Oh, I am
Hell
doing
yeah.
that too.
All right, Kiana, go ahead. Our special guest.
Hi, I'm Kiana. I'm playing I'm playing Meg and their mom, and I am a special guest.
Cool.
It
All
says
right.
one person is watching.
Oh boy, this is
Ooh.
exciting. All right.
Such an audience.
If you have the stream like on your computer at the same time, like playing on YouTube, you're gonna want to mute that because otherwise you're
Oh,
gonna hear
whoa.
yourself twice and it'll be hell.
That would be wild. Hang on, I'm gonna actually pull that up.
It just says
Okay.
one watching. We're famous.
Is it you?
Whoa.
No, it's not me.
All right.
For a minute,
so,
I was like, wait, what's our YouTube called again?
This is Little Women, which was originally written by Greta Gerwig. We are not claiming we own this in any way, shape, or form. This
No.
will stay up onto our
Mm-mm.
YouTube until Greta Gerwig's people come after us and then take it down.
Sorry, Greta. We love you.
Yeah, sorry, Greta. And then we have a little opening quote that says, "I've had lots of trouble, so I write jelly tales." Louisa May Alcott, who, if you did not know, wrote the Little Women book. Cool. All right. This has 2 different timelines. We're only going to go for like an hour today because this is really long. So we'll be back later doing it again. All right. So we enter a New York in a publishing office in 1868. Jo March, our heroine, hesitates. In the half light of a dim hallway, she exhales and prepares, her head bowed like a boxer about to go into the ring. She puts her hand on the doorknob, a pause, and then she opens it into a disorderly room. It is full of men. Some sit with their feet up on the desks higher than their hats, which they do not remove for her. They smoke and read, hardly noticing that she has walked in. Jo walks through the desks looking for one in particular. Jo clears her throat.
Excuse me. Shut up.
Ash, you're Mr. Dashwood.
Oh, that's me.
Ooh.
Yeah, you look at her. Mr. Dashwood looks at her.
Oh, me.
I'm looking at you.
I was looking for the weekly volcano office. I wish to see Mr. Dashwood.
Mr. Dashwood stares silently. Joe's nervous and presents some pages.
A friend of mine desired me to offer a story. By her, she wrote it. She'd be glad to write more if this suits.
He stands and extends his rough, large hand. She gives him the manuscript. Mr. Dashwood turns the pages over.
I do not have any idea. Oh. Wait. Where are we?
We're at the bottom of the first page of dialogue.
Page 1.
What? Am I supposed to say something?
Yeah.
Yes.
What am I saying?
Not a first attempt, I take it.
Oh, okay. I did not have any idea where. Okay. Not a first attempt, I take it.
No, sir. She has sold to Olympic and Scandal and got a prize for the tale in the Blarney store banner.
A prize?
Yes. A weekly.
He now takes in Jo's appearance and her mended clothes.
Sit.
Jo sits, hands folded, trying to cover ink stains. Mr. Dashwood reads her story with a pen in hand, gleefully crossing out and making notes, changes. Every time his pen scratches, Jo feels her heart breaking. She's on the verge of tears when...
We'll take this.
You will?
With alterations, it's too long.
She nods and he hands it back to her, page after page with her work crossed out. She examines it.
You've cut. I took care to have a few of my sinners repent.
The country just went through a war. People want to be amused, not preached at. Morals don't sell nowadays.
Pointedly.
Perhaps mention that to your friend.
Jo looks again at her completely altered story.
What compensation?
We pay 25 to 30 for things of this sort. We'll pay 20 for that.
Money over art.
You can have it. Make the edits.
Jo hands over the story. Mr. Dashwood hands over the money. Business done.
Should I tell my friend that you'll take another if she had one better than this?
We'll look at it. Tell her to make it short and spicy. And if the main character is a girl, then make
My
sure.
screen is glitching, I think.
Oh no. Wait, what?
Ashley's sounding like a robot. There we go. Okay, we're good, I think.
Are we good?
Yeah, wait, sorry, where were you?
Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah, we'll look at it. Tell her to make it short and spicy.
Okay.
And if the main character is a girl, make sure she's married by the end. Or dead.
Casually.
Either way.
Excuse me?
But he's on to the next bit of business.
What name would she like to put the story?
Oh, yes. None at all, if you please.
He considers her.
Just as she likes it, of course.
Good morning, sir. Good day.
Exit, New York City, day continuous, 1868. The streets of New York after the Civil War at the brink of the Industrial Revolution. It is a city in the middle of becoming, the 20th century on the horizon. Horses, trolleys, young, old, black, white, immigrants, returning soldiers, factory workers, wealthy industrialists, fashionable women, and poor mothers all crowd the streets. We find Jo, also becoming, sprinting down the streets with utter joy. She has pulled up her skirts and is running full steam. Not lady running, flat out running, for the joy of it. Exit, and then we enter boarding house, NYC, day 1868. Jo reading and walking at the same time, bounding two at a time up the steps of a large brownstone boarding house. She stops to pick up a cat who suns herself on the steps. Jo to the cat.
My Beth would like you very much.
As Jo walks through the house into the drawing room, she lets the cat down and goes straight to the fireplace. She stands with her back to it to warm herself and produces a small notebook and begins to write. She's so engrossed with her writing that she doesn't hear the boisterous group of college students and professors, men and a few women, when they descend upon the room. She just keeps writing until, this is Friedrich. Good afternoon, Miss March. Jo looks up from her notebook to see Friedrich Baer looking down at her. He speaks with a French accent and, like all Europeans, seems to know something that we Americans don't. I can't do a French accent, so bear with me.
Good afternoon,
Jo
Professor.
straightens up. You're on fire.
Thank you.
Suddenly animated. You're on fire. Jo suddenly notices that the back of her dress has caught on fire. In a panic, another woman of the group helps her and the dress is put out. Disaster is avoided, although not humiliation. I have the same habit, you see. He shows her a scorch mark on his jacket. Jo's about to laugh when Miss Kirk, the landlady, bustles into the room. Oh, I guess I'm also Miss Kirk. Kitty and Minnie are waiting. Jo looks up the stairs to see two little girls prancing.
My students need me.
Always working.
Money is the end and aim of my mercenary existence.
No one gets ink stains like yours just out of a desire for money. Jo feels the intense pleasure and pain of being seen by someone, of knowing that they know you.
Well, my sister Amy is in Paris, and until she's married someone obscenely wealthy, it's up to me to keep the family afloat. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Exit, France, Paris, day 1868. Amy March, an angelic 20-year-old with golden curls, is painting a stage scene along with a few other young artists. It is a classic scene of two young men and a young woman at a picnic, and Amy is rendering it realistically, imitating the 18th and 19th century painter she loved. She looks at the painting of a young man next to her. He's doing something radically different. The paint is obvious, the colors are bright and unlifelike. Space is flattened. It is not meant to be realistic. It is the beginning of modernism. She looks back at her own piece and realizes that she might have missed the moment that she came here to master. Perhaps she's already passed before her time. She continues working, troubled. Exit, Paris, promenade, day, 1868. Amy rides in an open-air carriage with Aunt March reading a letter from home. Everyone in Paris is out. Aunt March is only happy when she's complaining, and she's in excellent form this morning. It is the place to see and be seen, and Amy March is doing both excellently.
Wait, this is me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meryl Streep.
Oh,
Yeah.
the decadents have ruined Paris. If you ask me, these French women couldn't lift a hairbrush.
No response from Amy.
Amy, I said these French women couldn't lift a hairbrush.
Oh yes, very true, Aunt Marsh.
Don't humor me, girl. What do they write? Your troublemaking family.
Mother doesn't say anything about Beth. I feel I should go back, but they all say stay.
You can do nothing if you go back. The girl is sick, not lonely.
Amy gives her a hard look.
And you shouldn't go home until you and Fred Vaughn are properly engaged.
Amy blushes and puts the letter away.
Yes, and until I've completed all of my painting lessons, of course.
Aunt March looks at her, momentarily confused.
What? Oh, yes, of course.
Amy looks at all the passers-by. She sees a somber young man, tall and dark, looking down as he walks. Suddenly,
Do I yell? Stop the carriage! Lori!
abandoning her primness, she launches out of the carriage and runs, nearly knocking people over. This is Theodore Lawrence, Laurie, a 26-year-old without a sense of direction, like most 26-year-olds. They hug joyously and unselfconsciously. Amy, you're so grown up.
You wrote you'd come to the hotel.
I looked for you and I couldn't find you anywhere.
You didn't look hard enough.
Maybe I just didn't recognize you. You've become so beautiful.
Please don't.
I thought you liked that sort of thing.
No, where's your grandfather?
Still in Germany. I'm on my own, traveling and having fun.
And drinking and gambling and flirting.
Don't tell your mother.
Are you chasing some young girl across Europe?
No.
I'm
Amy drops her playfulness.
I couldn't believe Joe turned you down. I'm so sorry.
Don't be, Amy. I'm not. It's Aunt March.
Oh, sorry. Amy March, you come back here right this instant.
Amy left.
I'm back. Where
You come back here right this instant.
Oh, Aunt March.
Laurie gallops over and jumps into the carriage, kissing her. Aren't we fine, ma'am?
Get off of me.
He kisses her again, grinning.
Il faut go. Allons-y.
Aunt March attempts to get the carriage to leave, and Laurie is thrown off while Amy is thrown in. Amy calls after Laurie.
Come to New Year's party. It's a ball and everyone will be there, including Fred. Pick me up at the hotel at 8. The Chavin. Dress for festivities, top hats and silk.
I will. I'll wear my best silk. Laurie turns and continues his heartbroken stroll as Amy looks at him. She turns back to Aunt March.
It's Laurie.
I know. What does that italic underline mean? Okay.
That's Meryl Streep being sassy. Amy turns around to get one last look at Laurie. She loves him as she's always loved him. We enter a tailor shop, afternoon 1868. Meg March, beautiful but with a melancholy of yearning emanating from her, is browsing the silks with Sally Moffat, a rich young woman who possesses an air of casual boredom that comes from never having to work for what you have. I guess I'm also Sally. 20 yards of the blue silk as well as the pink. Someone will buy for it later. She looks over at Meg, who touches a beautiful gray silk. Oh, Meg, that would look so lovely on you. I know just the dressmaker to send you to. You'll be the prettiest wife in Concord.
Oh no, John needs a new coat for winter, and Daisy and Demi need new clothes, and
his wife needs a new dress.
I can't. I just can't.
He'll be so pleased with how you look that he'll forget all about the expense.
I don't suppose it's such an extravagance.
Will 20 yards do? It's the sales clerk.
Yes, thank you.
And Meg watches, delighted but frightening guilt, as beautiful fabric is cut. Exit Meg March's house, day 1868. From inside a modest rural cottage, Meg emerges, wiping her hands and muttering to herself.
$50? What was I thinking?
She sees her two 3-year-olds, a boy and a girl, Daisy and Demi, playing in the yard. She sits down to watch them, feeling both grateful and trapped. They run up to her. Guess I'm also the children. Mommy, mommy. She sees her two 3-year-olds, a boy and I already read that. They fall into her arms. She accepts them and then sends them off to play again. We hear sounds, a beautiful back piano sonata being played. Exit March House, 1868. The music grows louder as we see empty rooms of the childhood home, the attic, the dining room, the stairs. Finally, we find Beth March alone at the piano. She stops playing suddenly as if in pain, then takes a deep breath, feels the sunlight on her hand and stretches it out. This is Marmee.
Beth? Beth?
She doesn't respond. Enter New York Theater, evening 1868. Shakespeare's Twelfth Night unfolds on stage. Jo is in the back, this cheap standing room. She's so wrapped up in the moves and until she's practically leaning over the railing. It is the scene where Viola, dressed as a man, seduces Olivia. I guess I'm also the Shakespeare character. That you are. Do you think you are not what you are? Then think you right. I am not what I am. Friedrich watches the play from his own proper seat. At a certain point, he sees Jo and then watches her watching the play, her delight making him smile. Enter New York Theater, lobby, night, 1868. The audience flows out of the theater and into the lobby. Jo, still in her theatrical reverie, spots Friedrich. She freezes, not moving, not wanting to be seen. Then she follows behind the band of friends, drawn to them in spite of herself. Enter German Beer Hall, night, 1868. It is a rowdy and raucous crowd, drinking and dancing. Jo walks through the crowd, taking it in, watching Friedrich. He knows everyone and can speak half a dozen languages. Another young man, speaking a language Jo doesn't know, offers his hand for a dance.
I'm sorry, I only speak English.
Come dance! He pulls her into the dance, and she just does her best to follow along. It's whirling and loud and wild. Before long, she finds herself paired with Friedrich, and all self-consciousness leaves her. This is the part. She is part of the night and the room and the music, and she throws herself into movement. And we are taken back to the past. Into Concord, March House, Jo and Meg's room, 1861. The sisters, all together again in the past, in the snowing globe of girlhood and memory that is ever present but forever gone, are in a flurry of getting ready for a holiday party. It's Meg time.
I know just who I'll dance with.
Will you dance with Jo?
You know I never dance.
I can't dance.
Why can't we all go to the party? It's not fair.
Meg's hair is covered in papers, and Jo manipulates a pair of hot tongs. Meg struggles to get on a pair of slippers.
You wear just wear your regular shoes.
These fit last winter.
Amy puts on jewels and rouge and tries to shape her nose.
My nose will simply not look refined.
I like your nose.
Now, Jo.
Don't touch me, thanks. I already feel ridiculous. I don't want to look it.
You could be pretty if you tried.
Don't want to. Won't do it.
I don't want to go, but I wish I could hear all the music.
I'll keep it all in my head and try to sing it for you when I get home.
Jo goes back to working on Meg's hair. Beth watches Jo handle the tongs, amazed and slightly worried. Are they just smoke like that?
It's the dampness not drying.
What a queer smell. It's like burnt feathers.
There, now you'll see a perfect little ringlet.
Jo removes the tongs and a burnt clump of hair follows. Jo screams and Meg screams because Jo screams.
You're ruined.
Why is her hair? Oh, that's not me.
Oh, that's me. Why is her hair off?
Meg, I'm so sorry.
What have you done? Like, is it Marmee I'm spoiled? I can't go? My hair.
I'm sorry. You shouldn't have asked me to do it. I ruin everything.
Enter Gardner's New Year's party, hallway, night, 1861. Meg and Jo walk down the hallway at Gardner's very fancy party. The party already in full swing. Meg is chastising Jo.
Don't stare. Don't put your hands behind your back. Don't say Christopher Columbus. Don't say capital. Don't shake hands. Don't whistle.
Meg is immediately pulled away. Meg March, you look so pretty. This is Sally, by the way. Sally Moffat. At that moment, Sally Gardner pulls Meg away from Jo, who is left standing awkwardly.
Meg
seems to put on another face and attitude, more grown up and elegant. Jo fades away into the back of the party. We're still at the New Year's party. Jo, 16, miserable, glumly watches the dancers. She pulls at a string on her dress and she catches Meg's eyes, 17, laughing with her dance partner, and pleads with her to leave. Meg aggressively shakes her head and Jo sighs, resigned. A very large red-headed boy makes a beeline for Jo. In her terror, she looks for escape. She slips behind a curtain and is walking backwards and nearly sits on Theodore Lawrence. Laurie, a very serious-looking 17-year-old boy.
Dear me, I didn't know anyone was here.
Don't mind me. Stay if you like.
I won't disturb you?
Not at all. I don't know many people and felt rather strange at first, you know.
So do I.
They stand there unsure of what to do, both shy. Miss March, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Lawrence, but I'm not Miss March. I'm only Joe.
And I'm not Mr. Lawrence. I'm only Laurie. Their first burst of conversation has run its course, and they smile at each other, standing in the not unpleasant awkwardness of the meeting.
Don't you dance?
I don't know how you do things here yet. You see, I've spent most of my life in Europe.
Europe? That's capital.
She catches herself.
I shouldn't use words like that.
Says who?
Meg. She's my older sister.
They peek through the curtain and watch Meg dance.
That's her, see? The girl in the violet dress?
Very pretty.
She reminds me to be good so father will be proud of me when he returns.
Where is he?
Volunteered for the Union Army. I wanted to go fight with him. I can't get over my disappointment in being a girl.
Laurie doesn't look disappointed that she's a girl at all. Joe, would you like to dance with me?
I can't because...
Because what?
You won't tell?
Never.
I scorched my dress, see? Meg told me to keep still so no one would see it. You can laugh if you want to. It's funny, I know.
Laurie does not laugh, but looks quite tender. Never mind that. I'll tell you how we can manage. Laurie bows, Joe awkwardly curtsies, and then they go dancing wildly up and down a wraparound porch. This is the best scene in the movie. It's actually very romantic in its exuberance. Sometimes Joe is the woman and sometimes the man. Same with Laurie. They're mid-spin when they see Meg wildly gesture at them from inside. She's hurt.
My foot. I've hurt my ankle.
Meg limps. Joe supports her, and Laurie trails behind Larry.
Larry.
How will I get home?
I don't see what you can do except get a carriage or stay here all night.
Carriages are too expensive.
Well, let me take you. It's right next door.
No, thank you. We cannot accept.
You must take mine, please.
No, it's too early. It's so early. You can't mean to leave yet.
I always leave early. I do, truly.
What choice do you have?
A laughing Marmee holding a book covered in flour opens the door on Laurie and Joe supporting Meg.
Ha 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 ha. Goodness gracious. What have you done? Oh my god.
Marmee has none of the pretensions of other mothers. No artifice. She's a hippie before they existed. The little girls, Amy and Beth, come running down the stairs and attack the older girls.
Here, make room. Meg is a wounded soldier.
Sprained my ankle dancing.
This is Marmee, not Meg, right here.
Oh, Meg, you'll kill yourself for fashion one of these days. Hannah, we need ice.
Tell us about it. What's he like?
This is Beth, not Laurie. Was the music wonderful? Laurie stands apart, not wanting to be a disruption, but loving the March household, this slightly medieval utopia of artists and thinkers.
Come in, come in. Apologies for the chaos. I enjoy baking in the middle of the night. Don't mind the clutter. Mr. Lawrence, we don't.
Laurie, please.
Can I call you Teddy?
Yes.
You must be a part of the girls' theatricals.
I'm Amy.
Hello.
They could use an extra player, although you'll have to fight Joe for the male roles or play a girl. Here, have a scone.
Marmee hands him the scone as Hannah enters with ice for Meg's ankle. Amy keeps sneaking looks at Laurie.
Laurie, how are your ankles? Do you need ice?
No, thank you, ma'am. Instantly, she sees his loneliness, his lack of a mother.
Oh, just call me Mother. Or Marmee. Everyone does.
He doesn't say anything, but looks as if he's about to cry. He doesn't have a mother and hasn't had one for a long time.
Oh.
Seems
This is at the same time, by the way, Meg and Joe.
okay.
Oh.
3, 2, 1. It really seems like
I don't believe fine young ladies enjoy themselves a bit more than we do.
Carriage and have mates to wait on me. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The girls laugh and prance and gossip around the warm fire. He stands apart, loving them all, the whole family. But most especially Joe. As Laurie retreats back to his big, lonely house, he looks across the field to Joe, writing alone in the attic, absorbed with her work. We're in the present, New York boarding house, night 1868. Jo works with her writing costume on, in an antique military jacket. Her writing is like an attack, moving into enemy territory, occupying space. Her hand starts to cramp. She shakes it, stretches it, and then switches hands. She's ambidextrous. Fun fact, like Louisa May Alcott. Suddenly, she stops. She's heard something. She opens the door, but the hallway is empty. She looks down and sees a book, a very beautiful copy of the complete works of William Shakespeare. She opens the cover. Inside, there is a note. This is from Friedrich. For the writer in the attic, because you enjoyed the play so much tonight, I wanted you to have this. It will help you study character and paint it with your pen. I would love to read what you're writing, but if you'll trust me, I promise honesty and whatever intelligence I can muster. Yours, Friedrich. Jo opens the book and almost greedily she begins to read, reciting the words to herself. We're in Paris in ballroom, 1868. A gorgeous Paris ball, and Amy is lively and everyone's favorite at the party. She dances with Fred Vaughn most often and gossips with her sister and her friends and is charming to everyone. Suddenly, Amy sees something that makes her look sour, and we follow her gaze to see Laurie entering. He is loud, drunk, and has two girls with him. They all fall onto a sofa, laughing and loud. Amy frowns and approaches. She stands before him, annoyed.
Lori,
Amy!
I waited an hour for you.
I feel caught. Laurie clumsily makes a space for her while the other ladies depart. Amy does not and walks away, forcing him to follow. Amy, please.
Do you want to know what I honestly think of you?
What do you honestly think of me?
I despise you.
Why do you despise me?
Because with every chance for being good, useful, and happy, you are faulty, lazy, and miserable.
Oh, this is interesting.
Selfish people do like to talk about themselves.
Am I selfish?
Yes, very selfish. With your money, talent, beauty, and health.
Beauty?
You like that, you old vanity with all these good things to enjoy. You can find nothing to do but dawdle.
He drunkenly puts his hand over hers. He wears a ring on his pinky finger, which he never takes off. I'll be good for you, Saint Amy. I'll be good.
Aren't you ashamed of a hand like that?
No, I'm not.
It looks like it's never done a day of work in its life, and that ring is ridiculous.
Jo gave me this ring. Amy considers him seriously.
I feel sorry for you. I really do. I just wish you'd bear it better.
You don't have to feel sorry for me, Amy. You'll feel the same way one day.
No, I'd be respected if I couldn't be loved.
And what work have you done lately, oh great artiste? Or have you been too busy imagining how you'll spend Fred Vaughn's fortune? Fred Vaughn, ladies and gentlemen. Amy smarts his comment cut her to the core. Laurie takes his very messy leave and she looks to Fred.
Fred, I'm so sorry.
We're in the boarding house, drawing room, NYC, day 1868. Friedrich holds a few newspaper clippings and handwritten pages. Jo paces and watches him read, nervous. He laughs, she smiles at his laughter. He finishes reading and puts down the work and looks at her. Jo instantly feels that she needs to explain.
Those are just stories, of course, but I'm working on a novel.
And your novel, it will be like this?
Yes, so far anyways.
With plots like this, duels and killing?
It sells.
Why don't you sign your real name? This is Friedrich, not Laurie, by the way.
My mother wouldn't like it. It's too gory for her.
Yes?
I want to help with the money I make and not worry her.
He considers and speaks. I don't like them. Honestly, I think they're not good.
But they're published in the papers and people have always said I'm considered talented.
Oh, I think you're talented, which is why I'm being so blunt. Jo, deeply offended, starts to gather up her work.
I can't afford to starve on praise.
Are you upset?
Of course I'm upset. You just told me you didn't like my work.
I thought you wanted honesty.
I do.
Has no one ever talked to you like this before?
I've been rejected plenty of times.
But do you have anyone to take you seriously, to talk to about your work?
And who made you high priestess of what's a good and what's bad?
No one, and I'm not.
Then why are you acting like it?
Your reaction indicates that you must think there's some truth in it.
My reaction indicates that you are a pompous blowhard Shakespeare wrote for the masses.
He was the greatest poet who ever lived. He smuggled his poetry in popular works.
I'm no Shakespeare.
Thank goodness, we already have him.
If you know so much about it, why don't you do it yourself?
I'm not a writer. I don't have the gifts you have. She does what she does when she's hurt, which is that she gets incredibly mean instantaneously, without meaning to, and without being able to take it back.
No, you don't. And you'll always be a critic, never an author, and the world will forget that you ever even lived. But no one,
I'm sure they will.
but I'll be, but
Yes,
no one will forget Joe March.
I can believe it. An energy between them, and she kills it definitively. That's the word.
We're not friends. You are not my friend, and I don't want your opinion because I don't like you very much. And just don't talk to me anymore. Thank you.
She turns to leave, hiding all emotions. We exit New York City, twilight into the night, 1868. Joan, in fury and confusion, walks the streets, letting her feelings burn out. She strives through the entire night that way, like Charles Dickens' night walks. We enter the boarding house, day
Can I pause for a second?
1869.
Zoe?
Yeah.
How many people are watching?
I don't know.
One person. Our only fan.
That
Sorry.
might be
Yep,
me.
one watching now.
Is
That's
it you,
me.
Claire?
That's okay. They'll
Um,
come watch it later, maybe.
Just one?
Yeah, we're famous, Canada, you know.
Hell yeah.
Hi.
All right. Where are
Sorry.
we?
1869.
1869.
Yes.
If there's ever
after
like
her
a
work-
part where I don't talk a lot, then I'll probably like maybe post on my story about it. We'll see if
Cool.
anyone will
All
join.
right. After her walk, Mrs. Kirk hands Joe a telegram. Josephine, this came for you. Joe tears it open and quickly reads.
Dear Joe, our Beth has taken a turn for the worse. Please come home as soon as you can.
Joe breathes, crumpling the note.
Oh wait. Beth.
Joe. Okay, we are in the train in 1869. Joe drifts off to sleep, lulled by the movement. The country speeds past her as she goes forward towards her childhood home that is now no longer her home, and to the past that she can no longer find. We enter the past in the attic of the March house, morning 1861. Joe March is sleeping in her large, cozy writing chair, a blanket wrapped around her. Her fingers are stained with ink and pages are strewn around her. Sounds of the day start to drift upstairs to her perch. Her eyes flutter open at the distant sound of
Joe, where are you? Go away.
Do you like these garlands?
They're beautiful. That was Beth, not Lori. Joe yawns and stretches and looks through the attic window out into the snow-covered New England world.
Oh, get ready for some ASMR. Wait. Merry Christmas, world.
She wraps a blanket around her and quietly opens the attic door and sneaks down, watching her sisters, her heart's joy, fussing over the decorations Amy has made.
Merry Christmas.
They all look up, delighted.
Joe, we've been up for hours.
What are you even writing? Joe clomps down the stairs, pages of the play in her hand.
I got carried away with our delicious revenge play last night. Poison.
No, no poison. It's Christmas.
Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents.
It's so dreadful to be poor.
I don't think it's fair for some girls to have lots of pretty things and other girls, nothing at all.
At least we have father and mother and each other.
We haven't got father, and we won't have him for as long as this war drags on.
I wish I had heaps of money and plenty of servants, so I'd never need to work again.
You could be a proper actress on the boards.
I can't be an actress.
They aren't all fallen women.
I have lots of wishes, but my favorite one is to be an artist and go to Paris and do fine pictures and be the best painter in the world.
That's what you want. That's what you want too, isn't it, Joe? To be a famous writer?
Yes, but it sounds so crass when she says it.
Why be ashamed of what you want?
I'm not.
My wish is to have all of us be together with father and mother in this house. That's what I want.
Beth is perfect.
All right, we got Joe.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw the shh. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
What about your music, Queen Bess?
I only do that for us. I don't need anyone else to hear it.
You must not limit yourself.
Mother proposed not having any presents this Christmas because our men are suffering in the army. We can't do much, but we should make our little sacrifices and do it gladly.
Don't play mother just because she's not home.
Joe throws a pillow at Meg. It hits her squarely in the face.
Don't, Joe. It's so boyish.
That's why I do it.
I detest unladylike girls.
I hate affected little chits.
Joe tackles Amy and Beth. Joe tackles Amy and Beth and pulls in Meg. They commence play fighting in the tussle. Amy shouts out,
Watch my nose, my nose. It's already no good.
"This is Hannah. She's the hired house staff. I know you don't care what I think, but don't you want your mother to find you like this? Do you?" The girls untangle and rush to Hannah. She's a good-natured woman, old enough to be their grandmother.
Of course we care what you think.
You're more family than wicked old Aunt March.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Don't, Joe.
Where's Marmee?
Goodness only knows. Some poor creature came a begging, and your ma went straight off to see what was needed.
I wish she could help other people at a time convenient to us.
This is Beth. Joanna and I are very hungry. Joanna's the doll. What can I have as a doll? Ribbon.
Dolls don't get hungry, Beth.
Oh yeah, this is Joe.
Oh, sorry. I've rewritten the climax and we need to set it to memory. Amy, get the costumes.
I've made a divine hat and painted those old shoes blue so she truly looks like a princess.
I think the melancholy piece I've figured out is pretty good. Beth goes to the piano and Joe hands out the new pages.
Meg, wait until you see this new speech.
I don't see how you can write such splendid things, Joe. You're a regular Shakespeare.
Not quite. Miss Michelangelo, can you please rehearse the fainting scene? You are as stiff as a poker in that.
Oh, goodness gracious. I can't help it. I never saw anyone faint, and I don't choose to make myself all black and blue. If I can go down easily, I'll drop. If I can't, I shall fall into a chair and be graceful. I don't care if Hugo does come at me with a pistol.
Amy falls into a chair and Joe turns to Hannah.
Hannah,
I'm not acting.
I didn't even say anything.
I knew what you were going to say, and I'm not acting. We're in Concord, March House, continuous 1861. Marmee approaches in her modest home and sees her girls laughing and rehearsing, joyfully playing make-believe. She fights tears and sadness about what we don't entirely know. We just know that what she does as a mother isn't free. Of course it's not. Nothing is ever free, even a joy a mother can make. Just before she flings open the door, she puts a smile on her face. Like so many mothers, she creates magic where there is none and enables her girls to be brave.
Merry Christmas, girls.
All the girls shriek and crowd around her.
I'm so glad to see you so happy.
Mother, are you freezing? Come have some tea.
Hannah and I made these cakes.
We finished the sewing.
Wait until you see my portrait.
They clearly worship their mother. As she's talking, they follow her into the kitchen.
Joe, you look tired. Were you up again all night writing? Amy, come kiss me. How are my girls?
I'm so hungry.
I could eat a horse.
Stop it, Joe.
Look at this breakfast.
Marmee sees the expectant faces and wrestles with herself.
What?
What is it?
That was Meg. This is Marmee.
Not far from here lives a poor young woman, Miss Hummel. Her 5 children are in one bed to keep from freezing, and there's nothing to eat. My girls, will you give them your breakfast as a Christmas present?
They're very quiet because they really don't want to do it. Is this where you say that father would want us to?
Yes.
We are in the Lawrence house, formal dining room, day 1861. Mr. Lawrence sits with his grandson Laurie and his grandson's tutor, Mr. Brooke. It is quiet and proper, the opposite of the merry mayhem of the March household. Mr. Brooke is Ash, I think.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for including me.
Kiana, can you be Mr. Lawrence?
Yes. You're
Thank you.
welcome. Wait, yeah, you're welcome. Perhaps you could tutor my grandson in manners as well as mathematics.
They both look at Laurie, who watches the March women walk around the snow-covered field with their breakfast. Joe hits Amy with a snowball, and there is general tussle. This is Laurie. What are they doing? We're exiting a Concord church, Christmas Day, 1861. All of the proper people of Concord are entering the local church, serving God in the traditional manner. The March family walks by, actually doing the Christ-like thing instead of performing their faith. We are in the woods around the Hummel house in 1861. The girls make their way through the woods and finally find themselves outside of a shack that is so dilapidated that it is hardly standing. This is the Hummel house. The girls enter, tentative at first, around such wretched poverty. Mrs. Hummel is barely older than they are and frighteningly thin. Marmee shows no hesitation, immediately taking the infant into her arms. This is Mrs. Hummel, I guess. Ach mein Gott, this is German. It is good angels come to us.
I'm back. We brought food and blankets and sweaters, and we brought some medicine. These are my girls.
They all set about making the room less wretched, more homelike. Marmee comforts the baby, and Meg takes 2 children into her lap. Amy cleans and straightens. Beck covers the other children with blankets. Joe sets up the food. We're in the March dining room in the late afternoon. Freezing but happy, the women return and immediately see Hannah has arranged an unimaginable feast with candy and ice cream and cakes. Hannah pulls Mrs. March aside when the girls marvel.
Is it
No,
fairies?
it's
Santa Claus.
no, it's old Aunt March.
Mr. Lawrence sent it, those Hannah.
The Lawrence boys? Grandfather? Why?
He saw you giving your Christmas breakfast away and wanted you to enjoy the day. They all run to the window to look.
But I thought he was a mean old man.
That's so generous of him.
His grandson Laurie put the idea into his head. I know he did. We should make friends with him.
Boys scare me, and that big old house scares me.
Jenny Snow says that Mr. Lawrence disowned his son after he went off with an Italian woman, and now his grandson is an orphan, and he spends all of his time in that house locked up with his tutor.
He's a very kind man who lost his little girl when she was only a child, and now his son as well.
His daughter died? That's so sad.
But doesn't Laurie just seem so romantic? He's half Italian.
What do you know? You've never spoken to him.
Flowers in winter. I am not responsible for this feast, but I have got a surprise.
A letter from
Letter.
Father.
Is he coming home?
3 cheers.
Yay.
They gather around Marmee, sitting her into her easy chair, making her comfortable. This is clearly their tradition.
Don't I wish I could go?
Poor Joe, we can't give up our only brother.
It must be very disagreeable to sleep in a tent.
Joe takes her position behind the chair.
Joe, stand in the back so we can't see her cry.
So what if I do? Oh. So what if I do?
When will he come home?
He will stay and do his work faithfully as long as he can, and we won't ask for him back a minute sooner than he can be spared. Give them all my dear love and a
That's reading from the letter.
give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times.
As the letter is being read, we see the sisters put on the play that they had been rehearsing. With Marmee and Hannah cheering them on, they perform for the neighborhood children. The children are entranced as Joe, dressed as Hugo, with a black beard, a mysterious cloak, and boots and a sword, calls out,
What ho, minion, I need thee.
A year
This is
seems
still
a
the
very
letter.
long time to wait before I see them, but remind them that while we wait, we may all work, so that these hard days need not be wasted.
Meg enters as Hagar, the horrible old witch. Smoke effect and a well-done homemade costume makes the audience gasp.
Born of roses, fed on dew, what charms and potions canst thou brew?
Joe mouths the words along with her. She's written every one. This is Marmee reading the letter.
I know they will be loving children to you, do their duty faithfully, fight their enemies bravely.
Amy, as the sprite, appears on the top of a poorly constructed tree to give the illusion of flying.
Oh my. Hither I come from my airy home, afar in the silver moo. Ah.
In mid-speech and gesture, Amy falls with a loud crash. Joe breaks character.
Don't laugh. Act like it's all right. Just keep going. Beth, play.
Beth is revealed playing and trying to keep a straight face while the sisters scramble to keep the performance going. This is still the letter.
And conquer themselves so beautifully.
Princess Zara, Amy, and Roderigo, Meg, kneel before Don Pedro, Joe, as he pronounces them man and wife. Beth plays the final triumphant chords.
Oh, brava, brava.
The audience claps and the sisters bow. Joe gentlemanly, Meg demurely, Amy the diva, and Beth small quiet curtsy. One woman rises to her feet with her applause and shouts, This is
And
still the
that
letter.
when I come back to them, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little woman.
Roll credits. Okay, we're
Aw.
back into the present. The whistle blows and Joe is being gently shaken awake. This is the railroad porter. Your stop, ma'am.
Thank you.
Into the boarding house, kitchen and laundry, New York, day 1869. Mrs. Kirk hangs laundry as Friedrich questions her. She's gone. Why? Oh, I get to have a conversation with myself. Right, Miss Kirk. I don't know. She just left. Friedrich. But she didn't say that she was coming back. Mrs. Kirk. We don't have a heart-to-heart, Professor. What are you doing? Why are you just sitting there? Go dust something. What about the girl? She was the best teacher they've ever had. Miss Friedrich. I know. Friedrich looks troubled and serious. We exit Concord Town Road, day 1869. Joe, with her luggage, walks home on the familiar roads that she knows so well. She breathes into the air and trudges onward. We're back into the past. We're at Concord Town Road, morning, January 1862. The four girls are walking, bundled against the cold. The streets are more bustling, the atmosphere cozier. It is how childhood always is in memory, brighter and better. They are back to the daily task of making a living.
Sorry, what page are we on?
36.
36.
Oh, sorry, my brother just interrupted.
And like the bottom-ish, in the red.
Yeah. Brief intermission.
Oh, Meg, it's so hard to go back to such work. It's so hard to go back to work after such good times.
I wish it was Christmas every day.
Or New Year's. Wouldn't that be exciting?
We're a bunch of ungrateful minxes.
Don't use such dreadful expressions.
I like good, strong words that mean something.
Well, I have to go to school and I don't have any limes.
Limes?
The other girls are all trading pickled limes. I'm in debt. I owe ever so many limes.
Well,
Meg gives her a quarter.
What did you do that for?
I know what it feels like to want little things and feel less than other girls.
Between that and the drawings, I should wipe out my debt.
What drawings?
Nothing.
Beth shudders. I'm just glad that Mother doesn't make me go to school with all those girls.
Beth, after your shopping, I need you to work your way through the new sums and spelling, and I'll check it all when I get home.
Meg looks at the sun and speeds up.
Hurry, I'll be late.
They break apart from each other at the fork in the road. Beth and Meg going in one direction and Amy and Joe in the other. We are at our Aunt March's house the same day in 1862. Joe hops over a fence and then runs toward Aunt March's house. I'll be Aunt March in this one so you don't have to talk to yourself.
Thank you.
Aunt March dozes, a poodle in her lap, while Joe stands by her bookcase and surreptitiously reads her own book. She turns the page, trying to be as quiet as possible, but Aunt March wakes up. Josephine!
Yes.
Is there a reason you stopped reading Belsham?
I'm sorry, I'll continue.
You mind yourself, dearie. One day you'll need me and you'll wish you had behaved better.
Thank you, Aunt March, for your employment and many kindnesses, but I intend to make my own way in the world.
No one makes their own way, not really. Least of all a woman. You'll need to marry well.
You are not married, Aunt March.
Because I was rich and made sure to keep my money.
So the only way to be an unmarried woman is to be rich?
Yes.
But there are precious few ways for
Human children than taking care of his family.
Yes, but he was right.
It is possible to be right and foolish.
I don't think so.
Well, you're not paid to think. I know you don't care much about marriage now. I can't say I blame you, but I intend to go to Europe one more time and I need a companion. How would you like to be the person I take?
I'd like that more than anything.
Then read, don't sneak around. I don't like sneaks. We're at school on the same day in 1862. During a lunch break, one of the schoolgirls whispers to Amy, President Lincoln.
No, father is fighting for him.
My father says the war is just a waste and we should let them keep their labor.
It is immoral.
Everyone benefited from the system, including you Marches. Why should only the South be punished?
Perhaps we should all be punished.
The Marches do love a cause. Fine, just do Mr. Davis.
I don't know if I should.
I'll wipe your debt and give you 5 more limes besides. Amy is seduced and instantly starts drawing the very good and accurate caricature. The girls giggle. Amy gets carried away, drawing a conversation bubble with the words, My eye is upon you, young ladies. More laughter. Suddenly, a shadow falls over them, and all the girls look up, scared, and move away. Amy, however, is too wrapped up in her drawing to notice. When she does, Mr. Davis looks down sternly at her. We're at Mr. Lawrence's house, day 1862. Laurie tries very hard to study with his tutor, Mr. Brooke, but is hopeless. Laurie keeps jumping and distracting him with something in the room. His most recent position is standing like a statue perched on a chair.
Oh my god. I love this. Sit down, Laurie. Latin is a privilege. Please, you have to learn this. I can't afford to lose this position. Just return to Cicero.
But Laurie is staring out the window. There's a girl out there.
No, there is not.
Yes, Mr. Brooke, there is a girl. He throws open the window and yells out, "Hello there, are you hurt?"
I'm Amy.
"Hello, Amy, I'm Laurie."
I know you brought my sister back from the dance. I would have never sprained my ankle. I have lovely small feet, best in the family. But I can never go home again. I'm in such trouble. Look.
She holds up her hand, which is red and bleeding a little.
Mr. Davis hit me.
In Lawrence's house, library day, 1862, Amy, her hand now bandaged, sits looking at an art book, pretending to be a very fine lady. Doing a voice.
What kind of voice am I?
A voice?
Tell the servants that I want this painting purchased for me immediately.
Laurie laughs at this confident girl. Amy likes making him laugh. Mr. Brooks shakes his head, frustrated. A servant enters, followed by Joe and Meg. She's in here. Meg goes instantly to Amy when Joe gets distracted by all the books. Laurie stands when Joe enters. Joe!
What richness! Theodore Lawrence, you ought to be the happiest boy in the world.
A fellow can't live on books alone.
I could.
Meg is tending to Amy, and Mr. Brooke can't help but stare at Meg, completely flummoxed by her beauty and goodness.
What happened, little lamb?
What did you do?
Just a drawing, and then Mr. Davis hit me.
Amy starts crying again, holding up her hand. Meg has taken off her gloves and put them on a side table, and she examines her sister's outstretched hand. Mr. Brooke eyes the gloves. He's drawn to the item so recently worn by Meg. Joe has been roaming the room, stops in front of a portrait of Mr. Lawrence. Laurie follows her gaze.
Christopher Columbus, look at that.
That's my grandfather. Are you scared of him?
I'm not scared of anyone. He looks stern, but my grandfather was much more handsome.
Unfortunately, during this speech, Mr. Lawrence has entered with Mrs. March, unseen by Joe.
Joe, we do not compare grandfathers.
Joe spins around and sees Mr. Lawrence and her mother.
You think he's more handsome, hey?
Oh no, you are very handsome. I didn't mean...
I know your mother's father. You've got a spirit. Did you notice that half one?
Thank you, sir.
Marmee turns to Amy.
You are not to attend that school anymore.
Good, that man has always been an idiot.
Joe will teach you.
Me? I already teach Beth.
You're a good teacher.
Is that me?
Mr. Brooke? Oh yeah, that's you.
Yes, women being taught at home is much more proper, I believe.
Only because the schools for women are so poor.
Indeed, quite right. Amy now. I wish all the girls would leave this horrible school and that he would die.
You did wrong, Amy, and there will be consequences.
To Laurie.
Thank you so much for taking care of Amy. My girls do have a way of getting to mischief.
So do I.
Then you should run over and we'll take care of you.
And please come here whenever you'd like, and tell Beth to come too.
Yes, Beth would adore the piano.
Is she the quiet one? That's our Beth.
Okay.
Tell the little girls to use our piano.
And Joe, borrow any book you'd like.
And may I come look at the paintings?
It's a
No, I'm Mr. Brooke.
Wait, no,
There's also a lovely greenhouse.
we must be going. Girls,
Thank
you.
you.
Please come over. Many thanks. Our apologies.
The women leave and Mr. Brooke notices Meg has left her glove behind.
Oh, Miss Meg, you forgot your glove.
The men are standing in the silence of their absence. Mr. Lawrence breaks the spell.
back to work. Back to work.
All right, I think we should call it there for today.
Yeah.
I hope
Yes, that was
if
really
anybody
good.
watched
To do the
this,
iconic
they enjoyed.
really fun.
Dude, I know nothing about this movie or book, and so far,
Do you
so
like it
good.
so far?
I'm
As we
enjoying
kept
it
going
a
through the
lot. Yeah.
script, I kept reminiscing every part of the movie through the
Yeah, me
script.
too.
It was,
I'm gonna
I
have to
liked
watch
it
this
so much.
movie now. Damn.
You have to.
Yeah,
You can
it's
rent it
good.
on iTunes now, but it's like
Ooh.
still cheap, expensive, but you can do it.
Oh well.
Amy's scene is my favorite. The I can never go home again. What a
So
So do
thank
we
you if
know-
anybody watched this.
Do we know
it's-
when we'll do
is it
like part
Claire?
2?
Yeah,
Probably
we left
same
off on
time next
page
week.
45.
Okay,
So
yeah,
just
that
a-
works.
All right, cool. I hope people enjoyed. Watch Mad sometimes when it comes out.
Do it.
Bye.
Bye,
I'm
guys.
hungry.
Thanks for watching.